July 20th, 1973, Hong Kong. A 32-year-old man collapses in his apartment and never wakes up. His death sends shockwaves across the planet. Movie theaters close in mourning. Thousands flood the streets. The president of a nation sends condolences. This man wasn't a politician, wasn't a war hero, wasn't royalty. He was Bruce Lee. And in just 32 years, he did something nobody thought possible. He took martial arts from ancient temples and brought it to global consciousness. He shattered Hollywood's racial barriers with his fists. He made the entire world question everything they knew about strength, speed, and human potential. But here's the real question. How did a skinny Chinese kid who couldn't speak English become the most influential martial artist in history? How did he force Hollywood to create roles for Asians when they didn't want to? How did he change not just movies, not just martial arts, but the way billions of people think about their own bodies and minds? This is that story, and it's way more revolutionary than you think. November 27th, 1940, San Francisco. Li Junfan is born during the Year of the Dragon, in the Hour of the Dragon. His parents are Chinese opera performers touring America. They name him Bruce for the hospital records. When Bruce is 3 months old, the family returns to Hong Kong. He grows up in a city controlled by British colonizers where being Chinese means being treated as second class. Bruce sees it everywhere. The best jobs go to Europeans. The best neighborhoods are off limits to Chinese. Even the public parks have signs, no dogs or Chinese allowed. This burns into Bruce's soul, this sense of injustice, this feeling of being told you're less than human because of your race. By age 13, Bruce is getting into street fights. Hong Kong's streets are brutal, gangs everywhere. Bruce joins one called the Tigers. He's small, skinny, but he's got something others don't. Zero fear and explosive anger. His parents worry he'll end up dead or in prison, so they enroll him in martial arts. He starts training in Wing Chun under Master Yip Man, and here's where Bruce's rebellious nature emerges. Traditional Wing Chun has rigid rules. You learn forms exactly as taught. You don't question. You don't innovate. You repeat the same movements for years before moving forward. Bruce hates this. He's constantly asking why. Why do we stand this way? Why do we punch like that? What if there's a better way? His questions annoy the traditional students. They think he's disrespectful. They complain to Yip Man that Bruce is too arrogant, too American, not pure Chinese. Some refuse to train with him. But Yip Man sees something special. He sees a student who doesn't just want to memorize techniques. He wants to understand the principles behind them. He wants to evolve them. Still, Bruce's street fighting continues. In 1959, at age 18, he gets into a serious fight. He beats a rival gang member so badly that the kid's parents threaten to involve the police and powerful connections. Bruce's parents make a hard decision. They send him to America, away from the gangs, away from the trouble, to start fresh. April 1959. Bruce arrives in San Francisco with $100 in his pocket and barely speaks English. He's 18 years old alone in a country that doesn't want him. The 1950s in America are viciously racist toward Asians. Chinese exclusion acts have only recently been repealed. Asians can't own property in many states, can't marry white people, are portrayed in movies as villains, servants, or jokes. Always subservient, always weak, always speaking broken English for laughs. Bruce sees all this and makes a decision that will change everything. He's not going to accept it. Not for 1 second. He moves to Seattle, works as a dishwasher, finishes high school, enrolls at the University of Washington to study philosophy. But his real education happens outside the classroom. He starts teaching martial arts. And this is where Bruce does something radical, something that breaks every rule of traditional Chinese martial arts. He teaches non-Chinese students, white students, black students, anyone who wants to learn. Traditional Chinese martial arts schools refuse to teach non-Chinese. It's an ironclad rule going back centuries. You don't share the secrets with outsiders, especially not white people who colonized your country. But Bruce doesn't care about these rules. He thinks they're stupid. He believes martial arts should be for everyone. That knowledge shouldn't be locked away based on race. The traditional Chinese martial arts community is furious. They see Bruce as a traitor. They warn him to stop. He ignores them. In 1964, a group of Chinese martial artists in Oakland issues an ultimatum. Stop teaching non-Chinese or fight our best fighter. If Bruce loses, he must close his school. Bruce accepts. The fight happens in a private room, no cameras, no recording, just witnesses. His opponent is Wangjak Man, a highly skilled traditional kung fu master. The fight is supposed to prove that Bruce's mixed approach is inferior to pure traditional martial arts. The fight lasts 3 minutes. Bruce dominates completely. Wangjak Man can't land a single effective strike. Bruce chases him around the room and beats him until Wong's team stops the fight. Bruce wins, but he's not happy. The fight took 3 minutes. Bruce expected to win in seconds. He's exhausted afterward. He realizes something crucial. Traditional martial arts, even his beloved Wing Chun, has limitations. This moment changes everything. Bruce starts questioning all martial arts, all techniques, all traditions. He asks one fundamental question. What actually works in a real fight? Not what looks good in demonstrations, not what has ancient tradition, not what makes masters feel superior. What actually works when someone is trying to hurt you? This question leads Bruce to create something that doesn't exist. A martial art with no style. A fighting system based purely on effectiveness, regardless of where techniques come from. He calls it Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist. Jeet Kune Do breaks every rule. It borrows from boxing, fencing, Wing Chun, karate, wrestling, whatever works. It has no forms, no rituals, no traditions, just pure effectiveness. Bruce writes, absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, add what is specifically your own. The traditional martial arts world loses its mind. They call Bruce a fake, a sellout, a disgrace to Chinese culture. How dare he mix sacred traditions? How dare he question ancient masters? How dare he say some techniques are useless? But Bruce doesn't care. He's found his path. Now he needs to show it to the world. 1966, Bruce is teaching martial arts in Los Angeles. His students include Hollywood's elite, Steve McQueen, James Coburn, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're amazed by him. They've never seen anyone move like Bruce Lee. Bruce is fast, not movie fast, actually impossibly fast. He can punch 6 times in 1 second. He can kick a 300-pound bag so hard it hits the ceiling. He can do push-ups using only his thumbs. He can hold a 75-pound barbell straight out for 20 seconds. His celebrity students tell him, you should be in movies. Hollywood needs to see this. Bruce wants this desperately. He's been acting since childhood in Hong Kong films. He knows he can act. He knows he can fight. He knows he's charismatic. But there's one massive problem. Hollywood in the 1960s does not cast Asians as leading men. Ever. It's an unwritten but absolute rule. Asian men in American movies are laundry workers, houseboys, servants, evil masterminds with broken English. They're never heroes, never romantic leads, never strong, never respected. Bruce watches American TV and sees white actors in yellowface playing Asian characters. Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's mocking Asians. Fu Manchu stereotypes everywhere. It makes him sick. But Bruce has a plan. He pitches a TV show, The Warrior, a Chinese martial artist in the Old West, a hero who's skilled, philosophical, strong, a role that will shatter every Asian stereotype. The executives love the concept. Bruce demonstrates his martial arts. They're blown away. They've never seen anything like it. This could work. This could be huge. Months pass. Bruce waits for the call. Then he finds out they're making the show, but they're not casting him. They cast David Carradine, a white actor with 0 martial arts training, to play the Chinese martial artist. The show is called Kung Fu. It becomes a massive hit, makes Carradine a star, makes millions of dollars. Bruce is devastated. Everything he created, his philosophy, his vision of showing a dignified Asian character, given to a white actor. This is the moment that would break most people. But Bruce channels his rage into determination. He gets a role in the Green Hornet TV series. He plays Kato, the sidekick. It's not the lead, but Bruce decides to make Kato unforgettable. He choreographs fight scenes unlike anything American TV has shown. Fast, brutal, real. The show is canceled after one season, but fan mail reveals something shocking. Viewers are more interested in Kato than the Green Hornet. Kids are playing Kato in playgrounds, not the white hero. But Hollywood still won't give Bruce a leading role. The excuse is always the same. American audiences won't accept an Asian leading man. Bruce is furious but refuses to give up. If Hollywood won't come to him, he'll create his own opportunity. Bruce returns to Hong Kong. The Hong Kong film industry is churning out cheap kung fu movies, but they're poorly made. Bad acting. Worse fight choreography. Fighters who clearly don't know martial arts. Bruce sees an opportunity. He signs to make The Big Boss, a simple revenge story. Bruce insists on choreographing all the fight scenes himself. The Big Boss is released in Hong Kong in October 1971. It destroys box office records, completely shatters them. It makes more money than any film in Hong Kong history. Bruce immediately makes Fist of Fury, another revenge story, but this time with a message. Bruce's character fights Japanese occupiers who have a sign, "No dogs and Chinese allowed." The same sign Bruce saw as a child. When Bruce destroys that sign on screen, kicks it to pieces, Chinese audiences erupt. They've never seen an Asian hero dominate like this. Never seen an Asian man portrayed as the strongest, fastest, most skilled fighter in the world. Fist of Fury breaks the box office records Bruce just set with The Big Boss. Now Hollywood is paying attention. Suddenly, the executives who said American audiences won't accept an Asian lead are calling Bruce his agent. Warner Brothers offers Bruce a deal to make Enter the Dragon, a co-production with Hong Kong's Golden Harvest, Hollywood budget, international distribution, everything Bruce has fought for. But Bruce negotiates hard. He demands creative control over fight scenes. He demands dignity for his character. No stereotypes, no broken English. A hero who's intelligent, philosophical, skilled. Enter the Dragon starts filming in 1973. Bruce knows this is his shot, his one chance to prove to the world that an Asian man can be the biggest star on the planet. He pours everything into it. Every fight scene is innovation. He uses nunchucks on screen for the first time in American cinema. His speed is so incredible the cameras can't capture it. They have to tell him to slow down. In one iconic scene, Bruce fights in a room of mirrors. The choreography is insane. One mistake, and someone gets hurt. Bruce does it perfectly. July 10th, 1973. 6 days before Enter the Dragon premieres in America, Bruce is at home in Hong Kong with actress Betty Ting Pei. He complains of a headache. She gives him a painkiller. He lies down to rest. He never wakes up. At age 32, Bruce Lee is dead. The autopsy reveals cerebral edema, brain swelling. The theories multiply. Allergic reaction, heat stroke, dim Mac death touch from an old fight, assassination by triads, curse of the dragon. The truth is probably simpler, but no less tragic. Bruce pushed his body beyond human limits, removed his sweat glands for aesthetics, used muscle stimulators, took cortisone for back injuries. His body gave out. Enter the Dragon premieres in America on July 26, 1973, 6 days after Bruce's death. It becomes the highest-grossing martial arts film of all time, makes $350 million worldwide. Adjusted for inflation, that's nearly $2 billion today. Bruce Lee becomes the biggest posthumous star in film history. But Bruce Lee's impact goes far beyond box office numbers. He didn't just change movies. He changed how people think. Bruce was a philosophy major at university. He studied deeply. Taoism, Buddhism, Western philosophy, psychology. He read constantly, wrote thousands of pages in journals about self-actualization, consciousness, the nature of reality. His famous quote, "Be water, my friend," isn't just about fighting. It's about life, about adapting, about being formless, shapeless, about flowing around obstacles instead of breaking against them. Bruce brought Eastern philosophy to Western audiences in a way nobody had before, not through dry lectures or religious texts, but through action, through movies, through his body. When people watched Bruce Lee fight, they weren't just watching punches and kicks. They were watching philosophy in motion. Every movement had purpose. Nothing wasted. Complete efficiency, total presence. Bruce wrote, "The consciousness of self is the greatest hindrance to the proper execution of all physical action. He's describing what athletes call the zone, what Buddhists call no mind, what psychologists call flow state. He made these abstract concepts tangible, visible, accessible to millions who would never read philosophy books. His approach to martial arts revolutionized how people train. Before Bruce, martial arts schools taught one style. You did karate or kung fu or judo. Mixing styles was forbidden. Heresy. Bruce said that's stupid. He said limiting yourself to one style is like a sculptor who refuses to use any tool except a hammer. Why would you do that? This idea that you should take what works from everywhere and discard what doesn't seems obvious now. But in the 1960s, it was radical. Today, every mixed martial arts fighter in the UFC is doing what Bruce advocated 50 years ago. They train in boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, wrestling, whatever works. They call Bruce Lee the father of MMA, and they're right. Bruce also transformed physical fitness. He was obsessed with pushing the human body to its limits. He did thousands of punches daily, trained his core relentlessly, developed his own equipment when nothing existed for what he wanted to do. He wrote detailed training manuals, studied kinesiology and nutrition, experimented with supplements and training methods decades before they became mainstream. Bodybuilders, athletes, fighters still study Bruce's training methods. His philosophy of functional strength over appearance, of speed and flexibility over pure mass, of training the mind as rigorously as the body, but perhaps Bruce's most profound impact was psychological. He showed millions of people, especially Asians, that they didn't have to accept the limitations society placed on them. Growing up Asian in the West meant being told you were weak, nerdy, asexual, submissive, the model minority who should keep your head down and be grateful. Bruce Lee detonated that stereotype. He was explosive, confident, powerful, charismatic, sexual. He made Asian masculinity visible in a way it had never been before. After Bruce, Asian kids had a hero who looked like them, who spoke about pride in their heritage, who refused to be diminished by racism, who fought back literally and metaphorically. The impact is incalculable. How many Asian actors, fighters, athletes, entrepreneurs pursued their dreams because Bruce showed it was possible? How many refused to accept discrimination because Bruce taught them to stand up? Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, all the Hong Kong action stars, they exist because Bruce kicked open the door. Marvel's Shang-Chi, Hollywood finally making Asian superhero movies, that's Bruce's legacy. But it goes deeper than representation. Bruce changed how the world perceives strength itself. Before Bruce, strength meant size, big muscles, slow power. Bruce was 135 pounds. He looked skinny next to bodybuilders, but he moved with such explosive speed and precision that he redefined what strength could be. He proved that technique beats strength, that speed beats size, that intelligence beats brute force. This resonated beyond martial arts. It became a metaphor. David can beat Goliath. The small guy can win. The outsider can triumph. You don't have to be the biggest to be the best. Bruce lived this. A skinny Chinese kid from Hong Kong who couldn't speak English, who faced racism everywhere, who was told he'd never be a star, who was denied roles because of his race. He refused to accept it. He fought back. He created his own path, and he won. Bruce Lee has been dead for over 50 years, but his influence grows stronger every year. In 1993, 20 years after his death, a biopic Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, becomes a hit. A statue of Bruce is erected on Hong Kong's Avenue of Stars. Millions visit it. In 2004, UFC President Dana White says Bruce Lee is the father of modern mixed martial arts. Every UFC event shows fighters using techniques Bruce pioneered. In 2015, Time magazine names Bruce one of the 100 most influential people of the 20th century, not just in film, not just in martial arts, in human history. His movies still play worldwide. Enter the Dragon has been remade, referenced, parodied countless times. His image is everywhere. Posters, t-shirts, murals, video games, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. Every fighting game owes debt to Bruce. The character archetypes, the fighting stances, The philosophy of mastering different styles, it's all Bruce. Movies reference him constantly. Kill Bill, The Matrix, everything Quentin Tarantino makes. The yellow tracksuit in Kill Bill is direct homage to Bruce's Game of Death outfit. The Matrix's entire philosophy, the idea of freeing your mind to transcend physical limitations, is Bruce's philosophy. Neo's fight training, learning martial arts by downloading them, that's about becoming like Bruce Lee. UFC fighters talk about Bruce before matches. They quote his philosophy, they study his writings. Conor McGregor, Anderson Silva, GSP, they all cite Bruce as inspiration. But Bruce's impact goes beyond entertainment in sports. He changed business philosophy. Tech entrepreneurs quote Bruce. Be water is common in Silicon Valley. The idea of adapting rapidly, of not being rigid, of flowing around obstacles instead of breaking against them. His idea of constant self-improvement, of absorbing what's useful and discarding what's not, that's startup culture. That's innovation culture. That's how every successful company operates. Bruce's personal library had over 2,500 books. He was constantly learning, constantly evolving, never satisfied. He wrote, "I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you're not in this world to live up to mine." That statement, that declaration of independence from others' judgments, resonates across generations. It's quoted by athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, anyone fighting to do things their own way. Bruce proved you don't need permission to be great. You don't need approval from gatekeepers. You don't need to follow the traditional path. You can create your own way. His son Brandon Lee followed his father into acting and martial arts. Tragically, Brandon died at 28 while filming The Crow, killed by a prop gun malfunction. The Lee family curse, people called it. 2 generations of talent taken too soon. But Bruce's daughter Shannon Lee keeps his legacy alive. She runs the Bruce Lee Foundation, teaching his philosophy to new generations. Not just martial arts, but his ideas about self-actualization, about knowing yourself, about constant growth. Bruce's notebooks and writings have been published. Thousands of pages of his thoughts on fighting, philosophy, training, life. They read like a combination of philosophy text and training manual and personal diary. In them, you see a man obsessed with excellence, with pushing limits, with refusing to accept that anything is impossible. He wrote goals for himself. By 1970, I will be the best-known Oriental movie star in the United States, and I will have secured 10 million. He didn't achieve that exact goal. He died in 1973. But he became the best-known Asian movie star in the world. His movies made hundreds of millions. He changed cinema forever. Today, over 50 years after his death, Bruce Lee remains the most famous martial artist who ever lived. More famous than any UFC champion. More famous than any boxer. More famous than Olympic athletes or traditional masters. Why? Because Bruce was never just about fighting. He was about transcendence, about becoming the best version of yourself, about refusing to accept limitations placed on you by society, by tradition, by fear. He proved that one person, with enough dedication and refusal to quit, can change the world's mind about what's possible. Asian actors in Hollywood still face barriers, still fight for good roles, still battle stereotypes, but they fight on terrain Bruce conquered. The door Bruce kicked open can never be fully closed again. Every time an Asian actor gets a leading role, every time an Asian superhero appears on screen, that's Bruce's legacy. He proved it was possible. He forced Hollywood to see Asian men as heroes, as powerful, as worthy of leading roles. Beyond representation, Bruce changed how billions of people think about their own potential. He showed that physical limitations are often mental, that speed can beat size, that technique can beat strength, that intelligence can beat brute force. He proved that rigid traditions should be questioned, that mixing disciplines creates innovation, that the best path is the one you create yourself. Most importantly, Bruce Lee showed that you can be proud of your heritage while transcending it, that you can honor tradition while breaking its constraints, that you can be both Eastern and Western, both ancient and modern, both respectful of the past and innovative for the future. He was a bridge between cultures, between philosophies, between ancient wisdom and modern application, between East and West. between martial arts and philosophy, between body and mind. And that bridge remains. Every day, millions of people quote Bruce Lee, train using his methods, apply his philosophy to their lives. He's been dead for 50 years, but his influence is more alive than ever. So how did Bruce Lee change the world? He took martial arts from ancient temples and brought it to global consciousness. He shattered Hollywood's racial barriers with nothing but skill and determination. He proved that one person refusing to accept limitations can rewrite the rules for everyone. He showed that you don't need permission to be great, that tradition should be respected but not worshipped, that the best path is the one you create yourself. He transformed how people think about strength, showing that speed and technique can beat size and power. He made philosophy accessible to millions through action. He gave Asian kids a hero who looked like them and refused to be diminished. Bruce Lee didn't just change movies or martial arts. He changed what humanity believes is possible. He proved that a 135-pound man can become the most powerful figure in the world, that the outsider can become the icon, that the person told you'll never make it can become immortal. At 32 years old, Bruce Lee died, but his revolution never ended. It grows stronger every year, every time someone refuses to accept limitations, every time someone questions rigid tradition, every time someone creates their own path instead of following others. That's Bruce Lee's legacy. Be water, my friend. That's not just a quote, it's a revolution.